Well, it's been 3 weeks or so since I made a video called Kaabo Wolf Warrior Epic Fail or question mark. I guess the answer to that is or, because it depends on how you look at it. Was it the fault of the factory, the scooter itself? Did I do something stupid? Maybe a little bit of all of that. Let me explain. This is the wire that goes from, if you're on the scooter, the right side from the handlebar down to where the battery compartment is. And it travels right next to that infamous, notorious collapsing mechanism on the Wolf Warrior. That collapsing mechanism is super heavy duty, so it's good in that respect, but I've had nothing but trouble with it to the point where I never want to collapse my Wolf Warrior again. It's just too much trouble. There's a little bolt that is on a threaded end that has to be exactly perfect, the perfect length, in order for it to not wobble and to be able to collapse it. And a couple times, just from normal use, I don't know how, that nut has kind of worked itself loose and moved a little bit, and you end up putting the scooter on a box. You got to have a wooden box or a sitting stool or something that's exactly the right size. Set it on there. If you look at Fluid Freeride, they have an excellent video on how to do that. You have to set it up there and adjust it, and it's kind of better with two people, but you can do it yourself. I've done it, but a couple times I keep getting it slightly off, and then I have to start over again. I've spent up to half an hour just collapsing and setting up right again the Wolf Warrior. It's just not worth it, so I store it in my garage upright. I like to go to distant locations to scooter and a lot of off-road locations. So I have on the back of my truck an insert into the tow hitch that I can then set. It's like a cargo carrier that I set the Wolf Warrior still, pardon my language, still erect, not collapsed, because again, it's just too much trouble. I've had too much trouble with it. So here's the issue. When this comes down the stem and where it hooks in to the battery compartment is right next to that heavy duty collapsible mechanism, which is like scissors. And what had happened, it was crushed a little bit. I couldn't tell, it wasn't all the way through like this. This was sent back to me by Voro Motors just to explain what happened. So here's the lesson for anybody who wants to buy a Wolf Warrior or a current owner, or you're expecting one and it's coming in the box. When it comes out of the box, after doing all the assembly procedures that you need to do, get a black zip tie and zip tie it so that you can still turn the handlebars all the way to the left and have enough slack that it's not going to be tugging on this wire, but also taut enough so that it's not going to get caught in that folding mechanism, because that's what happened to me. When that happens, you're just dead in the water. But the good news is, well, I don't know if you could do this at home or not, because it goes into the battery compartment. But these are plug and play modules here on the end, 3 of them. So just do that simple thing. Please put the black zip tie. I had a brain fart there. And I'm only drinking coffee. Put the black zip tie at the bottom and save yourself a lot of trouble. Now here's what happened to me with Voro Motors. Voro Motors has excellent customer service. If you go online, just go to their webpage, a little chat room comes up and says, it's probably computer generated, says, hey, can I help you? But as soon as you start typing something in, a real person will get on the line and ask you, hey, what can I do to help you? And they were good at calling me back, and when I called, I talked to a person nearly every single time I called, as long as it's worth as long as it's within business hours. And so what they did is I had to send the Wolf Warrior back. I boxed it up. It didn't cost me anything shipping. And when they shipped it back to me, the brakes were locked up. So I was getting ready to go ahead and bleed the brakes. They're hydraulic brakes, fully hydraulic brakes, which are awesome. One of the best things about the Wolf. Maybe I'll do another pros and cons video about the Wolf Warrior, because there are things I love about it. And the collapsing mechanism, I mean, it's good and it's bad, but I'm just leaving it in the fully set up and erect position. That's what I'm going to do for now on. That is my plan. So I talked to Melvin at Voro Motors and said, you know, the brakes are locked up, and I was just going to do it myself. He said, no. We don't want you wrenching on your scooter. We want you riding your scooter. Just send it back. We'll send you another one. So they sent me a brand new Wolf Warrior. I only had 20 miles on the original one. The only thing I've noticed between the first Wolf Warrior and the second Wolf Warrior I've had, they both had 11-inch knobby off-road tires, which I like. I like the sound. I like everything about them. Is that the buttons? I think now I have a 11 plus. Maybe that's the difference. I could never tell the difference between 11 plus and 11. The 11, the first one I had those hokey looking orange and yellow buttons, but turns out those are way better. The new ones are black and they look cooler. They have like a little rubber coating on them, but you can't tell if they're in the depressed or popping out mode. So between eco and turbo, or dual wheel and single wheel drive, you can't tell other than feeling it as you're riding it. I don't think that's great, but maybe if you always just leave them in the same position and that's what you like, then yeah. I've noticed that the Wolf, when it's talcum powder, like really fine dirt, because I do mostly off-road, it doesn't handle it very well in dual motor mode. When I switch it to single motor mode, it seems to do a little better in a lot of situations, and maybe it has to do with traction, if they both break traction at the same time. If you look at the Desert Foothills ride video that I did, you can see I was filming with my iPhone 11 Pro Max that time. I hit that stuff and just straight down. It happened so fast, I'm not really sure how that happened. So, the last thing I have to say, again, props to Voro Motors. They're outstanding. Of all the dealers I've dealt with, they're the best by far when it comes to technical support. You really want to buy from a reputable dealer, because things are going to happen and you need somebody to talk to on the other line, on the other side of that telephone. But I want to say, if you like electric scooters, please listen to the Electric Scooter Podcast, link below. It doesn't matter if you're Androidian or iPhoneian. It's on Google Podcasts, it's on Deezer, it's on Spreaker. Our podcast is available on Apple Podcasts. Basically every platform that you can think of, including YouTube. If you just want to listen to the audio, there's no video, but if you want to hear the podcast, you can listen to it on YouTube. Just search for Electric Scooter Podcast, and there it is. So, until next time, keep the shiny side up and the dirty side down.